Alright, y'all. Here's a follow-up to day one mod on the Centipede cabinet. So, I'm not doing a review of the Centipede Legacy cabinet because I don't know what it looks like. I didn't even fire up the original screen, which is right there, or the original panel. I did take the volcano buttons off, which were here, and they are considerably smaller, but I managed to fit them by disassembling a typical Arcade1up button, some junk ones I had from before, and painted it black and then used it as a spacer, basically. If you can see right there, and you see that little shoulder. If I had some black ones it would have been better, but it did work out, and then the nut won't go through on the back side, so all you got to do is just whittle it out after you take it apart. Funny thing is, I had a couple sticky buttons, and one of them was missing a spring. And then a quick note on the trackball, like I said, the shoulder is higher on the new trackball, and this is an original one, and the colors are keyed in backwards, so I don't know if it can be used in a different setup or if it has to be used on only the Legacy encoder. But just a note, that is definitely keyed different. The two key marks, you could probably whittle them off and switch it around and it might be alright. I haven't tried it, but I'm going to use that new trackball is super smooth compared to an original Centipede, and better than the Simpsons cabinet too. But I'm planning on putting all that Legacy stuff into an Atari. I ordered a waterfall panel, and we'll see how that goes. But at any rate, let me turn it on, and you can see it's all lit up like a Christmas tree. That's a new old stock Centipede panel from 2018. GRS trackball, a couple illuminated buttons. There's the new volcano buttons. I did wind up drilling holes from the top because screwing the L-tabs from the underside, there's just no room with this waterfall style enclosure. But yeah, that panel, I don't have it screwed on yet, but the way I did it was just took those inserts out, put it on there, drilled a couple 3/8 inch holes, about 3/8, used some HAP style LEDs from some push buttons. Came out alright, but you can see it's the original board layout, original panel. Like I said, I was planning on using that original panel, but there would have been a whole bunch of extra buttons I don't need. And you know, although there's only 2 vertical games on here, it's good enough. It does look fine. So I bought this off the display panel off the eBay with the PCB, and it was still had the plastic on it. And I believe it might be a 2nd generation board. I don't know. The black levels are pretty good. It's vertical. I started off with the panel up a hair too high. I had to lower it right down to where you see that green stripe on the bottom right above the Atari logo. And but works well. Yeah, it's looking pretty sharp. I like it. So I probably have an additional 200 to 220, something like that. And the trickiest part was cutting down the original panel to a near Legacy size. I used a table saw. Radial arm saw would have been better. I am still using the original speaker just because it was easy. It was already wired. On the back side here, let me see if I got my flashlight. But looks good. As close as you're going to get to a Centipede clone. So on the back you can see I just hot glued those LEDs in there. And hot glued the wire down, ran it up, spliced the power off to the marquee, which I still need to solder it up. And you can see that it's an original old monitor. But like I said, all I need to do now, and I tapped the power off for the marquee and the front LEDs and the lighted buttons off of the bottom side of that on-off switch. It's a double pole, double throw switch, so there was extra set of contacts not used. And then I used one of those Y splitters to run the power into the board where I tapped onto the switch. So yeah, looks pretty good. I like it. Like I said, quite a bit of extra work. Came out better than I thought, but I'm happy with it. Alright.